First speaker is Ben Loeser. Ben joined the Hillsborough County as a bridge management engineer in November 2017. His presentation is going to give an overview of the local agency perspective and the Hillsborough County's development of an asset management plan. So let's join Ben.
All right, so just wanted to kind of share what we're doing in Hillsborough County, how it's all eerily similar to the states and everything that the states are doing. So just a little bit of information. Hillsborough County area has 1.4 million people, a little over 1,200 square miles. The unincorporated area, which is Hillsborough County, is about 87% of that. So a lot of rural areas. The city of Tampa is the primary city, makes up more than half that population. Just interesting fact, a lot of agricultural. We see that in our rural areas, that actually a lot of the impacts of our bridges. So some of our team, Marcelo, he's our program manager. He oversees all of our asset management for pavement, bridges, sidewalks, intersections. And then there's myself, I'm the bridge management engineer. And then I have two CBIs working for me, as well as an EI. So that's very uncommon to even have inspectors or have engineers working for you. The county's staff and management knows that this is very important. Just a little bit about our inventory. We've got 249 bridges. That's the most out of any local agency in the state of Florida. We've got about 25 non-qualifiers with our pedestrians, trails, et cetera. I don't know about you guys, but right now in Hillsborough County, growth. We have a large number of neighborhoods, developments going on in the southern part of our county. A lot of development projects. We're working with developers and engineers who've never done bridges, who are designing bridges that are going to become part of our inventory. So working with them has been very much of a challenge. And just a little bit of our almost $1 billion worth of value of our bridges. Some of our bridges, a lot of channel beams that were built out in the 60s, box culverts, our ashtoes. We have one bascule, a lot of flat slab, and one swing type. So you can see the bridge material types, concrete, pretty much the 95%. A little bit of metal and a few timbers here and there. Beams, a little half of our inventory is beams, slabs, and culverts are about a quarter each. So some about our bridge condition, we're actually doing pretty well, considering about 91% of that 6 and 7s and up. So this actually mirrors kind of the Florida DOT, the bridges that I was managing at the time for District 1 and 7. These numbers look eerily similar, with a few structurally deficient here and there. And so overall, we're actually in pretty good shape. And as you can see, based on the condition, I feel like this looks almost identical to everybody's inventory with the 60s and 70s. So obviously, a little over a third of our inventory is already past their design life with an average age of 40 years for us. So funding's always the biggest thing, right? So a few years ago, our Board of County Commissioners approved $800 million over a 10-year period for public works, public utilities. And so we got about $4.4 million of that towards the bridge and guardrail program. 9 or 10 projects, you see there about $12 million. We were able to get funded for replacement. So those structurally deficient bridges, some of those issues, we are getting replaced. And then just this past November, the tax referendum, the Hillsborough County voters approved a penny sales tax for transportation, as well as a half-penny sales tax that went towards the school district. So very, very important, very big. They're estimating upwards of $275 million per year in transportation funding. Hillsborough County is going to get maybe $150 million of that. It's still unknown at this point how much is going to go to the bridges. They want to know, how much money do you need? Well, I don't know. So what do we need, right? A bridge management system. Even with 250 bridges, I'm still being asked the same questions. You know, Mike mentioned this morning, what's your 10-year plan? I was asked last week, what's your top 50 bridges you want to replace? I don't know. So let me put some numbers together, run some reports. I mean, we have the data, right? We know what our bridges look like. We know what the data looks like. How can we put it together that it looks in a presentable format that's not my random 5 Excel spreadsheets that I know what I'm doing, but when upper management wants to see it, they can actually read it. We are currently, obviously, we're using the AASHTO BRM software through the state license. We can see the data, but there's nothing really we can do with it, running those models, et cetera. So we did meet with Polk County. They're our neighboring county to us. They're actually implementing agile assets. We've been very intrigued by that, and actually the county, not only for bridges, but pavement, sidewalks, intersections, et cetera. We're actually meeting with the Kircher group next week. Dave, I'm going to be meeting with him, and we're going to be setting up and developing, a bridge management software. So we're really excited about it. We're looking forward to it, and all the, the talk about deterioration models and all that fun stuff. We're going to be knee deep in that, hopefully doing the same thing, for our bridges, trying to create those models and trying to figure out when do we need to do repairs, when do we need to replace, and hopefully we'll get there soon enough. Our bridge work program, the county had never had anything like that. They've never seen anything like this from a bridge standpoint of how you're going to spend your money, what categories are you going to put them in. So I'll kind of walk you through some of the things that we do and that we created. So preliminary engineering reports, we have our consultants go out, review the bridges, come back, give us detailed cost estimates on the bridges for repairs, major repairs, minor repairs, and ultimately a replacement cost. Scour PERs, so all of our scour critical bridges, unknown foundations, they're still lingering. They've been out there for a long time. They've never been addressed. We're finally, now that we have the funding, we're able to address those. We have a guardrail program for all of our guardrails that need to be replaced and upgraded and damaged, et cetera. We have a countywide construction crew. So we do have 2 crews at our construction office that focus on bridge repairs. So we are trying to utilize them as much as possible. We have a minor repair program, which is basically like an ongoing push-button type work order contract with a contractor. It's a $2 million contract. We've used about $1 million of it this year in work orders. Major projects, we're putting those together for the major rehabs and the scour major projects as well. So we know already we've got $1 million scour project in the works right now for 4 bridges that is currently in design. Engineering is so big. I mean, when you go from a $200,000 budget, you can't do anything with that, especially from an engineering standpoint. I think we spent almost $750,000 in the last 2 years just in engineering, like reviewing plans, cost estimates, plan reviews, inspection services. Those are the things that we never were able to do before, and now we are. We just added, or we are adding, 4 more engineering consultants to our list. So we're going to have 4 or 5 engineering consultant contracts that we're going to be able to utilize to help us out in our planning and programming. And then another thing is active resurfacing projects. We resurface a road, there's a bridge, hey, replace our joints while you're there. Then I don't really have to do anything, I just tell the pavement team. So we're trying to work with the pavement and development project team. And then desilting is a huge thing. We need to desilt our culverts. I'm going to show you some photos later of some pipe culverts we desilted and found some very, very bad things. So just kind of quickly through this workflow, this is what we created for our team. The inspection reports. Inspection reports come in from the DOT. Florida, the state does the inspections. They give them to us. We review them, look at them. Then my inspectors go out, QC the inspection reports, check for any major issues, any things of that. And then ultimately we just kind of internally, this is where the software does all the nice calculations, looks at the condition data. We're doing that by hand, right? We're looking at it, we're reviewing it, we're making decisions in a room, and from there we're determining what do we want to do with this bridge. Minor repairs, major repairs, replacement, right? Kind of that first step is putting together with my countywide construction, just minor repairs, joint repairs, small repairs, things that are just real easy that I know they can do. I put a list together and create that work plan for them for the upcoming fiscal year. From there, all the more major reviews, major repairs that need some engineering evaluation, we put those together. And that's where those PERs come in. We're going to send the consultants out, do an inspection, come back, create a report for us, something that's binding. It's, we have them bind it. We can give this to management if they ask, hey, why are you replacing this bridge? Here's a full report, the major repairs, the minor repairs, here's the replacement cost. So we find that very valuable. At first I was kind of hesitant because I'm like, it's just a minor repair. But then you think about it, when management wants to know things, they want to know things, right? So if we can produce something very quickly, then it really benefits us. So from there, they're going to provide those reports back to us, and then we're going to make some decisions. Are we going to give it to this works contract, we call it a works contract, work order, to the contractor, or are we going to put this out to bid? The costs are just way too high. Then we look at our replacements. Do we just want to replace it? And so we kind of try to develop those different categories of our bridges and then try to create that work plan based off of that. And then ultimately it comes back around post-construction, post-inspection, follow up the next year when the inspections come back in, make sure all the repairs were made, et cetera. Repair or replacement. Here's an example of one of our PERs. This is, we call it ProShot is the name of the contractor. And so these are all their unit prices that's already pre-established, obviously. So when we look at the needs for that bridge and those unit prices, we look here, upwards of $275,000 if I were to give them this project. All right, well, if I put this out to bid, it's $200,000. I mean, are you going to put a $200,000 project out to bid? Most likely not. That's just not a lot of money there. So in this case, to replace it, a replacement cost of about $400,000 value of the bridge that we can replace this. Single span bridge, 30 feet by 30 feet. Not a lot of cost there. It costs more to do the MOB and demob and MOT and traffic than it does to actually replace the bridge. So looking at your life cycle analysis, this is all fun, right? Trying to figure out repair cost, replacement cost, doing life cycle analysis, try to put some numbers together here with, do I spend $275,000 now and then replace it in 25, 30 years from now? Okay, well, I'm going to need $1 million then, but what if I have $1 million right now that I can spend? So right, I think that's where a lot of us are in the funding and the needs, trying to create the software where a lot of our bridges are so small and these repair costs just get so high that we're just kind of making that decision. Look, I'm not, and in this particular case of this bridge, actually the ratings are fine, but the metal sheet pile walls that hold back the roadway are failing and are severely corroding, and I've got about 3 feet of clearance to do the repairs, and it's in the water. I don't know how I'm going to do that other than driving new sheet pile walls, and it becomes very difficult, and a contractor cost to do that is just significantly high. So with the funding that we have coming in, we're making those decisions to we're just going to go ahead and replace some of these structures. I just wanted to give some examples of some of the work that we're doing. Our countywide construction crews has some slope pavement failures here at a bridge. The guys were able to come in, throw down the mats, redo the soil, re-pour the concrete, make it all nice and pretty. This is actually one of the bridges we're planning on replacing. It's it's actually one of our non-qualifiers, but it's in such bad condition. Again, the cost to repair were like $250,000, and to replace it, it's like $450,000. So that's the game plan there. Some more examples, some sheet pile work. The guys were able to go in and de-water, put up these bags, de-water out, clean and paint the sheet pile walls. And one of the things that we're doing is installing these stub walls at the lower portion of these sheet piles, and provide some rock rubble just for any future kind of scour. I mean, it's a lake, so there's not really going to be much scour, but this is one of our non-qualifiers as well. We shouldn't have to go back and really touch that for another 20 years, for that substructure. One of the other things we did last week with Foscrete, they've been here with us. We did some concrete beam repairs with them. So we did some beam repairs, some cap repairs, trying out the product, seeing if it works, seeing if we like it. It's different from what the crews are used to doing, so it's a learning process. So we had the guys come out, install, as you can see, some of the concrete. So we're going to try it out, see how it works for us. That was one of the benefits. I think I was at the conference last year, saw these guys, talked to them, was interested in them. We're trying them out. Let's see how it works. Something else we're doing, some upcoming joint repair. We met with a supplier called Will Seal. They do joints. They came down, met with us. We're going to be doing some demos with them probably in the next few weeks, trying out some joints that they have, some compression joints. This is actually one of our pedestrian trail bridges. Goes over 8 lanes of traffic. The joints are completely gone, never been replaced. No one's ever touched them. Our park service used to manage these. They don't know anything about bridges. And so 2-3 years ago, our director of public works transferred all the bridges from the trails group over to public works. So now, thankfully, most of them are in good condition, but some do need, some repairs. But this is a pretty beautiful bridge, brand new. It's a steel box girder. If you were to look at it, these joints, there's black everywhere because it's just the water comes down, and it's supposed to be a beautiful trail. A lot of runners, I use it. We need to do a work order on it. We need to clean it, install some joints, get it back to its original condition. fun desilting. A lot of this, right? Vegetation build up in front of your culvert. It's never been addressed. Finally, let's go address it. Go in, clean it out. Oh boy, what's going to happen? Completely deteriorated culvert. We don't know why that's happened because it's not in an aggressive environment. It's in a neighborhood. It was not good. So we had the contractor. This is what a lot of they do is this kind of shotcrete application. So we had them go in and there was 3 of these pipe culverts and had them restore it. Looks beautiful now, but it also cost me $250,000 to do the repair. As opposed to spending $1.5 million to replace all of these, we needed to act quickly. We made the decision. We had them do it. M-Seal is another product we had them use. Actually, this was the work order. We did some of these, I think, a few weeks ago. Had them install some compression joints, trying that out, see how that works. So we gave them 5 or 6 bridges just to try that out, see how it works. They were using pretty much the pourables. With the Florida heat, they just dry a lot and crack, and they get punctured, and then they need to get repaired. So we're trying out some of these newer technologies of these compression joints, seeing how they work. We're going to monitor them, and hopefully they last, and hopefully we won't have to go back and repair them for many, many years. So just some of our challenges moving forward, the usage of our technical maintenance division. Our group is technically in technical services, which is kind of like design, essentially. But what we're doing a lot of is maintenance. We know we're in maintenance. We know we're doing maintenance. We're working with our construction crews and maintenance crews. Roadway maintenance is one of our big issues. Getting access to our bridges to even perform inspections is not something that the county's ever addressed or has addressed. So we're currently working on trying to get a contract put together. We have units who do mowing, and we have mowing contracts in the county, but they basically stop at our guardrails along the roadway. And we need them to go down, get into the ditches, get down into the embankments and the side slopes where we're actually walking and trying to get underneath our bridges to do our inspection. So that's a challenge. Trash, vegetation. I've got bridges that have 3 feet of grass growing on them from sand that just have never been addressed. That's something that seems so easy just to go clean a bridge, but when you've got 4 work orders in your system to go do it and it never gets done, it's obviously frustrating. So we're trying to work on that, working with either a contract or the units to make that happen. And then obviously the biggest question is future funding. I threw a little photo of a pavement. We would ideally like to be in a state where we can say, this is how much money we want to spend in maintenance, our vegetation, roadway mowing, desilting operations. How much do we want to spend in preservation, repair, rehab, and obviously then replacement? Because we have a lot of money coming to us. We just need to tell management how we're going to spend it and where we're going to spend it. So hopefully, like I said, with the BMS software, looking at our inventory, my plan is within the next 2 years or so, all of our minor repairs will have been addressed. We'll be getting into the major repairs. We want to start preservation like within the next 2 to 3 years of doing the overlays, addressing the concrete abrasion that we have, things of that nature. So that's where we're headed, and hopefully tying all this together, I'm very much interested, even though I don't have a large inventory, I'm still very interested in all the things that the states are doing and the directions and the deterioration curves and how they're able to get things done. So that's kind of where we're headed.
I don't really have a question, but I have a comment. I want to congratulate you on trying things that you've seen or from talking to vendors. You hear about a product and then you set up 5 bridges and try them out. It takes a certain amount of courage, and I think that's a really good thing. And this innovative product
Absolutely.
Program that this working group is trying to get kick-started could use you. If you're not already a member of that team, I encourage you to get with Dick Dunn right here and become part.
Yeah, so that was one of the things I know with Dick that you had mentioned. I obviously had seen that, and so we want to make sure that we have other bridges that we're going to be going back to and trying out different things. So we'll make sure that we get some people out there to, and yes, that was one of the things that we pretty much follow the Florida DOT approved products list for our contracts, for our work order. But when it comes to my construction crews, my countywide construction crew, you know, we're calling material suppliers for all kinds of things and getting products, and as long as I know that other states are using them and they've been successful, you know, just because they haven't vetted through the Florida's process, that doesn't mean that I can't do them. So I think that's one huge benefit that I know that I have, that, you know, we can try out anything, you know.
All right.
Was that it? All right, thank you guys.
And
The preceding was produced by the National Center for Pavement Preservation. More information can be found on the web at pavementpreservation.org. Additional support provided by Michigan State University.